All right, here we go. It is Tuesday night with the People's Pride Project, and you know that's when we have our couch conversations. Hey,
Hey,
and today, this evening, tonight, we have Miss Laenny Medina with us. So happy to have you here. I
thank you.
You're so welcome. I am so glad that you are a part of what we're doing at the People's Pride Project. Your enthusiasm has been amazing. I'm just really happy to let the people get to see you, get to meet you, and get to know more about you. Is there anything you want to say? You want me to give you your little intro?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me on here. I know you asked me a couple of weeks back, and I was ecstatic. I've been ecstatic the whole time up until today. And I literally just wanted to you know, regurgitate to this. Is this real? We're getting down to all the good stuff today, and I'm so happy that again you brought me onto your space and are sharing this with me so that I could share my voice with whomever.
Out into the ethers, whomever's listening, right?
Whomever.
But that's the whole point of the project. The project is a living resource. Like, I know we talk about food and gardening and things like that a lot, but it's really about being a resource for one, authenticity, allowing us to really show up in our full selves, autonomy, so that we can do for self, be self-sufficient, and not be reliant on outside sources. Because as Black and brown people, especially in the country of America, we've been getting shitted on for a long time. And
Absolutely.
it really, regardless of what the outside says or does, we have more control than we allow, or even that we realize.
Yes.
So that's what makes this project necessary. And I think it's a beautiful compliment. You compliment to what we do, we compliment to what you do as far as the food and the homeschool. Like, I see all the things that you're doing, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Well, first, I literally just started my homeschooling journey about a year ago. So I am a newbie, but even within that tiny space of time, I've been able to learn and absorb so much from my child and my community. And it's been so beautiful and it's been so rewarding. And now I just kind of want to get the ball rolling and let people know that it's not too late to start. It is not too late to take your child's time back, because literally that's all you're doing is just taking your time from your children back. Before, we were giving all that time away and all that energy to someone else, thinking that they could make our children whole, but our children are already whole. They're whole, beautiful creatures, and we just need to be sufficient within ourselves so that we can give them that energy that they need to grow and be sufficient within themselves.
Absolutely. Because, quite as it's kept, most of their limitations they learn from us as parents.
Absolutely. And we learn from our parents, and all a cycle. And at some point we need to realize that it is a cycle, and we need to break from that going in circle, not intervening and taking the time to understand. So at some point we do have to wake up and realize I am stronger than what everybody else believes I am, especially as not just as a community, as a whole, but as mothers. We're taking they take that away from us on so many levels. Like, homeschool is just one of those little onion peels that you got to take back, and it is just very rewarding.
I've been kind of following your journey as far as you like creating your own curriculum, and it really has appealed to me where you were kind of just like, well, I don't see what I'm looking for anywhere, so I'm gonna do this shit myself.
Oh, that is an issue. Let me tell you, there are so many people that I encounter on my day-to-day quest who feel the same way. They don't feel like stuff is tailored for people of, you know, our non-religious self, our spiritual selves, and our, again, non-secular selves. We don't want to look for outside sources. We want to, provide our children with the truths that we see fit for our kids, and that is not always out there. We This week alone, me and my son were taking a deep dive into a culture that is a part of us, a part of him and I, and it took so many layers to dissect what we were looking for, and once I found it, I was so happy, and it brought me so much joy that I'm happy to share that knowledge with my kid. So once you do go out there and start creating your own curriculum, because you don't find what everyone else is giving you to be fit for yourself and for your family, it's, again, something to be super proud of.
I love that.
Yes.
My children are adults.
Yes.
So I kind of, this is all new to me. Say the new batch of gremlins show up and I have to do it all over again. This would definitely be the route I want to go. But how did you get your footing? Like, what your resources? Where did you start?
Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you and everyone else that's watching this. I took a blind dive. I went in heart first.
I love
Like I was like, my heart is guiding me this way. Let me see where it's going to take me. And also, of course, my mind. I'm a very, I like to research everything. I like to know and understand what's going on in the world around us, what's going on with my children, that is just natural for me.
Mhm.
So I feel like you have to erase what they've taught you thus far as what education means, and you
Mhm.
need to start building that based on what your family needs, because what my child is going to need 5 years from now is not the same thing as what he's going to need 10 years from now. So you have to just keep adapting and adapting and adapting to what your family, what your core is, pretty much.
Okay. Now, as a parent, as a mother of multiple children, we keep in the project we talk about this framework of doing for yourself, and and people are like, I don't have time for this. So how do you make it work?
Absolutely. I have not one, but two beautiful kids. I have an 8-year-old who is in the fourth grade, and I have a toddler who is like, he just learned to walk a few months ago. So it's definitely very, very challenging. It's there is no balance. I'm not gonna lie and say, "Oh, I found my balance." I found my perfect schedule throughout the day. There is no balance. We are, taking it day by day. We're taking little bites here and there, and little bites here and there. You just kind of have to find your rhythm every day and just keep going with that flow until you find something that just, brings you guys together.
So I guess a big part of it is actually taking the rigidity out of it.
Exactly.
It's like structure
Exactly.
without structure.
Yes. So you have to knock that structure down, knock it down, and start building from just looking at your family, knowing exactly what they need, and spending time with them. I didn't jump into a curriculum until 3 weeks after I was spending time with my son, when school technically started. We didn't get down to writing until I understood, like, what do you want to do, what is it that will fill your cup this year. So once we wrote all those things down, and once we started searching within ourselves and wrote all those things down, then we went online and found an abundance of resources. So definitely, whoever wants to, give this at home thing a try, again, there is no balance, there is no framework. You just have to go by what your family needs, what particularly, your children are asking for.
That is a beautiful segue into
Yes.
food, actually, because that's the same thing we say about the gardening. the giving your body what it needs. Like it's all this. It encompasses this idea of, instead of being so outwardly focused, really tuning in and listening to what's happening.
Yes, so let me just point something out. I am a huge lover of a gardening system called permaculture, which I know that you're very familiar with. It's a way to create ecosystems within ecosystems so that you have a garden that is thriving. That is exactly what you want for your family. It's not perfect. It's not like rows of veggies like how you see conventionally in anywhere where you think about a farm. You see just rows and rows and rows. Permaculture brings it back, and it's like, we're gonna spread abundance. You know, it's not gonna be focused here, and it's not gonna be focused here. We're gonna create like a beautiful ecosystem so that things can grow and be beautiful and provide within, their opening. So that's exactly how I would tie what I'm doing in my homeschool space to food and agriculture.
Okay. I like that.
Yes,
I like that.
yes.
I'm a fat foodie on the inside. May it spill out on the outside.
My cup runneth over.
Okay. Abundance. Abundantly. So you do a lot of things in the vegan sphere. A
Yes.
lot of, so before I start running my mouth, tell me all about it.
So a couple of actually last year I created a food project that was solely based on trying to bring my roots into the conversation, because that really gets lost a lot of the times. People think that there is some sort of supremacy when it comes to veganism as a lifestyle, and it shouldn't be that way. I've heard this so many times, and even from my own family members, buying fruits and veggies is expensive. It shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have that mentality. We shouldn't have to depend on somebody else to provide those fruits and veggies to us. We need to figure out where we can source. And my biggest thing is finding that community of people that would be willing to share with you. Uh, you have 10 apples. I'm going to go share with my cousin these 10 apples because I know that she has a garden of herbs and she's going to share her herbs with me. That's mainly what it's about. I was looking for people within my community that could provide resources for other people who look and talk and are accentuated just like me, because again, we do have that mentality of we're not really into veggies. We're from the Caribbean. We're very fish dense. We're very meat dense. And we seem to forget that our agriculture is based off of the abundance that the land provides for us. So I wanted to bring that here to the tiny piece of Florida that we're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I just had a thought and it went the way of the wind. But you speak about community, which I feel in any context is so important because, especially being American, we're so taught that we have to do it by ourselves. We're supposed to struggle. If we didn't fight and earn and scrap for it, then it's not ours to have. And it's like, that's not what the spirit of humanity is. That's not what Black and brown people come from, these large overarching communities, these tribes, these villages. And it's like there's a disconnect that's happening. And you think so much that you have to do it by yourself, where you actually lead yourself into struggle instead of seeing who you can partner with or who you can, barter with or any of these things. And it's almost like, well, I got mine, so good luck trying to get yours. And we're all losing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the kind of ego maniac behavior that we kind of tend to display now as a humanity, where we think if I have more, I'm gonna survive the longest. Where it should be, if we all have more together, there's more hands planting, we could all eat a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We could all sit down to grow and thrive a little bit more if we do it together. So to me, community definitely meant educating the children. So getting down to the littles, making sure that their sights on the future are a lot brighter than having to fend for themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And as adults, when we display that onto children, when we are that image, they're going to mirror that, and they're going to, show those examples as they become older. So definitely community, that is one of the biggest pillars that I've taught my own children and those around me.
Do you feel like trying to get it through the skulls of the adults is a lost cause?
Absolutely not. People, although there are many traumas that people have, when it even comes to the tiniest things, as like I said, budgeting in healthier options for ourselves and trying to resource healthier options for ourselves, it's all about starting to heal ourselves first in our mentalities, and changing our mindsets. But it's never too late to start thinking, hey, let me go for Meatless Monday this week, or hey, let me try to see if my friend down the street can give me something from her garden and I'll cook for her. It's never too late to start focusing on the radiance that you can provide. And I feel like as adults, we kind of take that for granted. We take for granted the fact that we could be so open um, to receiving all those beautiful gifts, that we kind of shut ourselves down. But it's never too late to start being a light within your community.
I like that.
Yes.
As women, I have mixed emotions about what I'm getting ready to say.
Yes.
As women, it almost feels like we're always at the front. We're always the one kind of pulling everybody with us. And I like, even looking at the way the project is happening, it's all women. The support is coming from women, and we're usually the first ones to step up. So is it, I mean, do we just suck it up and put it all on our shoulders and say, okay, we're going to drag this community kicking and screaming into what it needs to be?
I
Or
mean, if we gotta do it, girl, we gotta do it. If we have to be, I know you saw that quote that I put out there the other week, that as a community, we not only have to hold our children's hand, but we have to hold our grandparents' hand, and be stronger and a guide, because we are the head of the community. Men tend to be, the body and more physical part of the community. It takes a little roughing up. It takes a little bit more for them to see the work that needs to be done. But that's not to say that there aren't a lot of men out there educating, Black and brown people, because I don't want to take away from, what they're doing. Yeah, but where I'm at, my small scale is definitely all women leading the tribe of veganism. They're leading the tribe of, educating all the people I know working in the birthing realm. They're all, female, and definitely men need a little bit more encouragement, I would say.
because that is one struggle. I don't want to say it's a struggle. It's a challenge. It's not a struggle. That I'm trying to bring more men. It's like, we need you. This is
Yes.
not, you're part of the community. You're part of what can make and break this just as much as we are. We need you to show up. We need you to participate. We need you. And I think part of it is a little trepidation as far as not to say they don't know where they fit, but not exactly knowing how to show up. Like they don't want to come in beating chests and taking over, but you know what I'm trying to get to? It's like there's I don't know. Men, we need y'all to step up and get in here. We'll figure it out once you get here, but we need you to get here.
And there's nothing wrong with us playing certain roles right now, because at the end of the day, it's not about the roles that matter. It's really just about the bigger picture. It's about, healing and focusing on us as a people, as a nation, as a whole.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm looking for, those guys, those healers that are not just, trying to spew information out there, that are not just behind a keyboard, typing away. I want to see those guys who are, really out there, growing veggies and showing kids how to grow veggies, getting in the kitchen, getting in front of students and educating them. It's a beautiful thing. For me as a person, I find that so beautiful.
It is. I mean, as a whole, it really is. And that brings me to another, in general, like we're in an age, as we sit on computers, on social media, speak to each other, in an age where people are so quick to sit back and drop their opinion and feel like they did enough. And I'm like, where are the people that are taking action? How do we bring that to the forefront? Like, it's great to have an opinion. Everybody's got one, but what are you doing? Like when all of these tragedies strike, we get mad, yes, and then a couple weeks later, we're back to sleep. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely feel where you're going with this, girl, because it takes a lot for me to not even put my own opinion. Like sometimes I don't even want to voice my opinion because I feel like it's, it's going to get jumbled up within everybody else's opinion, and it's not going to matter on this giant, web of social media. So at the end of the day, I keep to myself, and instead of putting, verbal energy, I turn that and I'm like, I want to do something physical energy. I want to go out there and, do something for the homeless today. I want to go out there and speak to some random kid at a skate park today. I try to take those words, and instead of posting them, I try to put them into action. And I hope a lot of people are, taking that initiative this year. We just started the year, and it's been a crazy year. It's been like a rewind of 2020. And I really wish that people would, instead of, going back onto the computer and trying to say the same things that they were saying, weeks ago, would take that energy and put it into doing a fundraiser or anything that would benefit, those that are in need of that.
Absolutely. That is my question to the world right now. Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
I don't care what you're saying. What are you doing?
Yeah, a lot. I see that a lot, and that's why I try to take less and less from social media every day, because a lot of it's less. It goes less and less about action, and it's more and more about words. And I'm not, personally, I want to see the growth, and I want to see the change.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough to say, "Oh, I donated money," or "I posted a meme," or like, okay, okay, and that's not
Absolutely.
even being insane. Like that's just me. It's like, okay, if I can't physically do something, I don't see almost the purpose in pretending like I care.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah, I'm not going to waste my energy at the end of the day if it's not going to, again, create a change, and or create a a domino effect of change.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Mhm.
absolutely, it takes a lot for us as a collective to wake up and really look at what we could be doing.
Do you feel that there is a fear or an uncertainty, like when you go to the beach for the first time and you're scared to dip your toe in that water, as far as trying to push forward and do more? Like, are we afraid to step out of the box and make our own path? Are we afraid of upsetting, the status quo, do you think?
I think it's more about upsetting the status quo. I don't even think we're afraid of change, and we're definitely not afraid of what's to come, because that's not the kind of people that we are. We're very strong and resilient people. I mean, look at all throughout all of history, no matter how hard it's been, we come out beautiful and strong. And I think it's not that. I don't think people aren't, I just believe that we're, how do I say this? We're kind of just trapped in a box where we believe that we shouldn't be doing these things. Like it's easier for us to voice our opinions behind a keyboard than to pick up a sign and walk across the street and protest something. Like, it's just easier for us to sit on our phones. It's all about convenience, I would say. It's not even about fear of ourselves and all the things that we're capable of. I think people are just gotten so lazy, you know. I read all these books and I see all these people who I consider personal legends of mine.
Mhm.
And I was like, are there any people in my generation that are capable of doing this? You know? And I look around me and I don't really see that. But
I don't
it,
Go ahead, sorry.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't really see the question of being capable. It's more so the desire to do it. We
Mm,
have so much at our fingertips. We have so much. I mean, we can organize. We can get to people faster. We all of these things that those prior to us did not have. I really feel like the issue is the desire. Like, why should it be me? Let somebody else do it. You know?
absolutely. That has a lot to do with us wanting to be accountable for a large group of people. That is very intimidating to a lot of people. But again, we are very resilient as a whole. As Black and Brown people, we've been able to overcome a lot. And we're not looking for a messiah, you know. I'm not looking for somebody to guide and walk me or anything like that. We're looking for somebody to say, hey, enough is enough. You know, we're gonna keep going into another, you know, century, and it's gonna keep being the same thing. We're gonna keep repeating and repeating and repeating history, and that's very sad. We need somebody to voice that. And I feel like it's gonna be a woman. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it probably is. And you know what's going to be crazy about that? It's going to be a woman, and then they're going to tell her to sit down and be quiet. And then she's going to go to like the man closest to her and be like, listen, you do what I tell you. I'll read you the script. You just stand there and let them look at you.
I'm
And we'll
supposed
get
to
this
do the bullshit, right?
done.
Yes. I'm
That's
okay
how
with
we'll
that.
get this done.
I'm okay with that. As long as the message is being displayed beautifully, I'm actually
Mhm.
very okay with that. It's just at some point, again, we're kind of just fed up of being fed. We want to take that spoon back, you know.
Absolutely. I like the way you said that.
Yes, girl, use that.
I like the way you said that. We're
Use
fed
it.
up being fed. It's time to take the spoon back.
Yes.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yes, and it has a lot to do with food. I love it.
Oh, because everything has to do with food. Listen, food. I say it 152 times. If you can't feed yourself, you're not gonna make it.
You're
That's the core of, and that's whether you're feeding yourself physically, whether you're feeding yourself mentally, spiritually. If you cannot feed yourself, you're no good to yourself or anybody else. So
absolutely.
that feeding is a necessity. And even rewinding a bit to something else that you said with regard to veganism and how we've kind of been led down this rabbit hole that is not for us. But if you look at the places that a lot of us originate from, or our families or our lineage originate from, meat was scarce. You didn't just, there was no grocery store. Shit wasn't wrapped in plastic. You just bring it home and cook. Like you had to work to go get that.
There were no cows. We weren't in
Right.
on the islands eating chickens. I'm sorry, it's the truth. We were eating roots and surviving off the lands, off of
Mhm.
what was provided to us through hard work, not taking from a being. And that is not to say that they weren't necessarily eating these things,
Right.
but they're not. We're taking that, again, that humanity aspect where we used to bless our food, say that we're thankful to this animal for providing us with whatever nutrients we needed for that day. So once we took that out of that aspect, and once I realized that that was my biggest issue, within cultural aspects, I started to see that veganism is for everyone. It's for children, it's for, adults, it's for seniors. It's not there is no box of,
Right.
of what veganism is. There, unfortunately, a lot of people like to describe themselves, as the label of veganism, but let's face it, it's all about providing for self and providing, off of, again, the hard work that you put into the land, a lot of the hard work that farmers put into the land. So I'm very grateful for, again, the small space that we live in around here. We're able to really thrive off of the land, and I love it.
Okay. Because I agree with you in that, but I also feel like the whitewashing and the commodification of it, it's the same kind of thing that happened with yoga and all of these other traditional aspects that then get turned into something else. And
Yes,
then we're told they don't belong to us anymore. But,
absolutely.
we come, like I said, we come from these places where we're eating plantain and lentils, and like this is our norm, but we didn't think of it as veganism. That's just how we ate.
Yeah.
So now you go to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store. Listen, I went to Walmart today. I'm about to tell you what happened. I was mad. I was angered. I went to Walmart and they had watermelons. First of all, watermelons are out of season.
Of course.
Why were they $7.48 for a damn watermelon?
A seedless one, I bet.
A fake ass, somebody made this shit up watermelon. Yes.
Exactly.
I was like, listen, I got seeds in my freezer from the watermelon I had last summer
Hmm.
because it had seeds.
Yes.
And we said seeds this year.
Right. So you see where it takes a lot of educating and peeling back layers to understand a lot when it comes to agriculture. And I get that that's very intimidating, and I understand that's why a lot of people don't take that leap of a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. It is very intimidating. There are places where you can't. Uh, I mean, here I could walk, a few blocks down the road, and 10 of my neighbors will have plantain trees. 5 of my neighbors will be growing yucca. And I understand the that is not ideal for a lot of people, like in New York, where people aren't growing yucca, or
Yeah.
uh, places like that. But again, it comes to like being resourceful and
Mhm.
knowing what is in your area, knowing what grows best in your area, immersing yourself in that community of growers, and trying to figure out, hey, if you guys are growing 10 bushes of cucumbers, and I grow um, 10 bushes of tomato, by the summertime we're all going to be enjoying salsa this year, right? So it is all about, you know, being resourceful. Veganism, that's something I feel like the whitewash community really takes from you guys, I mean from us as a whole, is that we can't be resourceful because they're coming up with better stuff in a lab
Mm-hmm.
that we don't belong in. So that's where veganism is heading. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to our roots. Let's take it back to educating ourselves, you know, knowing the land, understanding the land that we're living in. Because
Right.
you don't have to come down here to Florida. You could be enjoying whatever you have in your area. So it does stem a lot from educating yourself first before, you know, taking that big step. And I'm okay with that.
And part of it, like anything in life, part of it is learning as you go, or learning as we grow. It's a pun.
Yeah,
Um, but it's okay to make the mistakes. It's okay to not know what you're doing or have it all planned out. But start where you are. Start somewhere. Like I said, you may not know about permaculture, but you know how to put some dirt in an eggshell, throw some seeds in there and water and watch something happen. It just takes little things. And I must be on a rant today because
no,
oh,
get it
this
out.
especially with stimulus money coming out and all these things. Well, I'm gonna go buy some land, and first of all, that's classist as fuck. Okay, let's be real. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that it's not something to aspire to, because in my head I have a whole all natural brown folk community doing weird shit in the woods and eating our own food. It's beautiful spot. But the idea that, your normal everyday person right this second, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of trying to maybe homeschool or just I'm just trying to get my youngest kid to graduate, like right now, just get out. So, oh yeah, let me buy some land that I don't know what to do with. I don't know how to work it. I don't know if the soil's capable of growing anything. You could be selling me land that's essentially a parking lot, but because I have land, which is great, it's always an asset. People are getting blinded by this.
again, what are you going to do with that land? You know, and it definitely comes back to, again, educating yourself. What can I do with this land now that I have the ability to provide right now for myself? What am I going to do with that? And I'm going to take from that, and again, be really honest with people. It's not it's it's a process, it's a journey. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to figure out what you can take from that journey and grow from there.
Right. For me, like I said, land is the aspiration. However, if you're not willing to take the time to grow a seed on your windowsill, that plot of land you just put your life savings down on is not going to be worth anything to you.
It's not.
And so it goes back. Start where you are. Start with the resources that you have. Learn as you're going through it. So then when you can get your land, it's clockwork. It's easy. And I mean, even if your land is borrowing a corner of somebody's backyard, to garden in, or an empty lot in your, like, I'm 20 minutes from Newark. There's lots everywhere. If you need
Right.
to guerrilla garden because somebody didn't, somebody left their stuff open, do what you have to do, but do it, because you're shelling out money. Like, I feel like we're chasing this bag, we're shelling out money, but you don't even have the skills that you need to make it do what you need it to do. So it puts you back in the same situation you're trying to get out of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very dangerous cycle to be part of at the end of the day, because it just creates more and more stress upon yourself, your human self. Yeah, now you're going back to not feeling worthy, and
Mm-hmm.
that's even that's even worse than just having a feeling shameful that you just bought a pot of land. feeling unworthy is a very detrimental to your health and your healing.
Because your body takes all of that on. And
Yep.
I feel like, I mean, we're getting more into recognizing the effect that the mind state has on the body, because to me, they're two separate things that are trying to constantly work together. But we're, 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 as my mom would say, trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
You're not doing, it goes back to the very first point you made, doing what works for you, doing what your little community, your family needs to do to flourish, because we're done surviving. We want to thrive, we want to flourish, we want to be better than what we've come through. So I think we need to really go, like I said, go back internal and work out where we stand and what works best for us to move to the next time. Not just because social media and everybody that's supposed to have it together says, well, this is what you need to do. That might not work for you. So what do we do with that?
Yeah. Again, it comes to our own personal journeys where we're headed with that. Um, it takes a lot for us to acknowledge where we are before, because people, again, we just want to dive in head first and we want to see results, but we don't want to necessarily go throughout that journey of acknowledgement and knowledge before we take that big dive and start doing stuff like changing up our lifestyles and maybe fixing our debts, or taking that path to homeschool and educate your kids. It is a lot. It's a lot for a person to take on. And I absolutely understand, because trust me, I dealt with that when I first started even thinking about homeschool. My first thought was, am I worthy? Am I worthy of educating my child? Am I worthy of cooking every single day? Because now I'm not just a homeschool teacher. Now I'm the lunch lady. Now I'm the field trip facilitator. I now I'm setting up play dates with kids. I'm looking for learning pods online. I'm the school principal now. So it was very overwhelming, and I didn't feel worthy of taking that step. So once I started realizing why exactly I felt that way, which was, again, because I didn't see any reflections of myself within any community. It was so tiny. There was a handful of women, educating their kids that looked and talked like me and want their kids to have the same moral characters as me and want to educate their children on the same truth as me. It was very little uh, amounts of people that I was coming across, but it did overwhelm me at first. And I see where a lot of people are coming from, for sure. But like you said, if you can't take the time to plant a seed in your own house, then you won't be able to plant a seed in a land and watch that seed grow.
Um, I keep going back to this idea of the mother as not just the human form, but this all encompassing idea. And it's like, where, get it out, Sheena. Where do we have the ability to pull it all together? Like, you were just talking about trying to find people that look like you, and I feel like that's really what I keep going back to the People's Pride Project, what it's built out of, this idea of we need to have people that look like us in all facets, as far as self-education, self-defense, feeding ourselves, clothing ourselves, building, shelters for ourselves, financial awareness. These spaces we need to be just as comfortable and accustomed to seeing faces that look like ours than thinking that we have to take whatever information is handed to us from those that don't look like us. They're not automatically right. That's what I was going with. Because you were saying didn't feel worthy. And I'm like, this imposter syndrome shit is real. Because that's one of the first things we all, in doing this work, I have so many friends, especially females, that are like, I don't know if I can do it. Why has it got to be me? I don't know if I'm certified. I don't know if I'm educated. I don't know if I'm allowed to do it.
There you go. That's the word. I don't know if I'm going to thrive within this space. I don't know if I'm going to be accepted. And I just want you all to understand that we're not here to be accepted. That's not what the journey is about. We're not here to find another human being who is going to take us fully. That is not what it's about. We're here to grow ourselves. That is what the journey is about. That is what the human experience is about. That's what we're here for. And people we don't take that. Again, when you say we have that FOMO, not FOMO, imposter syndrome of, not feeling that we could grow and conquer these spaces. Oh, we are way above that. We don't have to conquer these spaces.
Mm-hmm.
We're way beyond that. We need to start being, I want to say innovative within those spaces. Yeah, within, it's not just about coming out on top. That's not what the journey is about. The journey is about fulfillment, how we're able to fulfill ourselves and those around us.
I also think, right along with what you're saying, as far as being innovative, we come from a history that says we always have to be better than to be mediocre. And it's like this idea we're struggling so hard when all we really have to do is let ourselves be, not be better, not be worse, just be and show up in your own fullness, show up in your own authenticity, in your own authority, and exist in whatever it is that makes you great. And then it all just kind of starts to happen.
That is like one of the most beautiful things that I've found that has been part of my journey. Once I got out of that mentality that I am not worthy enough to be in this space, to be in this homeschool space, and once I stopped letting everyone else define everything that I'm capable of within that space, then that's when the journey started becoming so much more worthy. I started pushing myself even more to educate myself on different learning styles, educating myself on how to teach my kid. It is a beautiful feeling once you take all that destructive mentality out of the way.
Fear is a hell of a drug.
Oh, it is, and it's something that we are very accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
Very accustomed to fear. We think that everywhere we go, we have something to fear, and I don't think that should be the case anymore. We now understand we're not dumb. We're not dumb people. We understand our power. We understand what we're capable of, and we need to put that fear aside and understand that we've come beyond that.
It's the need to deprogram, because we've had 400 years of programming to make sure that we were constantly in fear of stepping out of line, of doing for ourselves, of pushing forward in a way that others didn't see or didn't deem appropriate. And it's so crazy to be part of the generation that's like, you know what? Fuck that. Like, yo, we're showing up, we're taking over, we're doing what needs to be done, because it is that tether of looking forward and looking back. Because you want to represent those that came before you. You want to be able to even just show your parents, like, thank you for everything that you've done to get me here. Now let me help you as I move to the next level. And then you have the kids coming up with you to show that, okay, look at mommy's example. She may not get it right all the time, but I'm pouring enough into you that you can get it right and be better. So it's this whole constant cycle of growth and push and pull. And man, listen, it's a lot.
It again, and that's where what going back to what you said earlier, why do we as women have to take that responsibility? Because that is a lot for us to bear upon, even if you're not a mother, because remember, this doesn't just apply to mother, it applies to womanhood as a whole. We are still looked upon to carry everyone in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very those are very big shoes to fill,
And womanhood as an overarching, I don't want to call it an institution or a concept, but womanhood in general, whether you've created other beings or not, you are a mother.
Absolutely.
You are a mother of energy. You create your spaces. Whether if you're just a shoulder to cry on, a chest to, arms to wrap around a person, every tear you cry grows something. Every word you speak grows something. That's just the nature of womanhood in and of itself. So whether you've, like I said, if you've created them, if you haven't, you're still somebody's mama, you're somebody's auntie, you're somebody's cousin, somebody's looking up to you somewhere. So motherhood is a universal thing that's intrinsically tied to who we are, whether we want it or not. Because not all of us came into this game like, this is what I want to do,
Right. I've definitely met people like that, and I still, have the ability to embrace their journey, because I don't want them to feel like because I have a child, I'm better than you. That is not the issue. I don't know anything. Trust me. I am on the outside looking in. But I do try to embrace everybody and everybody's journey, and I feel like once we start doing that as a whole, we'll start being a little bit more comfortable within our own spaces, and also start forgetting about trying to fill other people's spaces, because we're here creating our own communities, building our own communities.
Because I know some women that have never once produced a physical offspring, but have mothered hundreds.
Absolutely.
So that's we really have to stop looking at that as a determinant of your worth or the level of respectability, because it's one less thing that we need to use as a way to one up each other, because for whatever, it could be choice, it could be physical, it can be whatever. That shouldn't be the deciding factor that says whether or not you're a woman, whether or not you're worthy, whether or not you have something to give. Yes, it will help with healing. As I'm reading the comments, I can't see who wrote it because it doesn't give a name. But yes, it definitely, it's a healing that needs to be had across the board.
Sheena, I am so glad that you're using your voice to let, again, not just female, because that's something I notice. You're not just focused on women. Your focus is on the people. It's so beautiful to see what you're doing to the community and bringing to the community, and I wish more and more men and women and people of color and minorities would use their voices, no matter how minuscule it is. Again, it's not always about voices. There are people who suffer from severe speaking anxiety, and they don't want to be out there with people. I understand that. The biggest issue is just finding somewhere to connect, finding somewhere to grow. So thank you so much for allowing people a space to grow, and just letting them know it doesn't matter where you start, where you are in within your journey. This is the perfect place right now, right here to start.
I appreciate that. And that really sums up what this whole entity, movement, whatever you want to call it, because it's so much bigger than me. And I believe I've even spoken to you about it. This shit is scary.
It is very it's very scary. I look at my children every day, and it's a reminder that if I don't do something for myself, if I don't get out of this bed and do something for myself, I won't be able to do something for my children, and so on and so on. So if we can't be that light ourselves, then how can we, maneuver that light to our offsprings and our aunts and our parents, because even parents need healing. Let's not
Yes.
forget that grandparents need healing too. So let's, keep pushing and tuning into our own inner light. So,
Because
so
go ahead.
no, I trust me. I was gonna rant. You don't want me ranting. I will keep going.
I just feel like we need to make it a point to acknowledge and respect the humanity in each other, regardless of generation, regardless of who came first, who came after. I mean, we're all traveling a human experience and we all reach different levels. Yes, generational breaking. We all reach different levels at different times, depending on when we understand the work that is needed, when we do the work, when it comes to fruition. Like is a process. That's the whole purpose of your lifespan. So I think the best way that we can work with each other and deal with each other is really to see the humanity, and not the human form, but the spirit of each other, and be willing to acknowledge that and be like, listen, I see what you're going through, you know. And even going, that goes back to the mothering, I see what you're going through. You know? Come, we'll make it better. Like, just that moment to say, I see you and I understand. I don't have to like it, I don't have to agree with it, but I see you, and that's okay. So show up as you. I can't ask you any more than that. Now, if you got work to do, take that shit over there and go work on it. But I see you and I understand. And that would take us so much farther. And all of these little things that we got going on would just seem petty and dumb, and we could really do the work that needs to be done and really move forward to make it pop, because that is what, as a community, as a whole, as black and brown people, as men, as women, we really need to stop with the dissecting and the compartmentalizing, and really just bring it back to the source, and we can get this ball rolling. And that's really what I'm here to help make happen. So
Yes, queen. Absolutely. I'm all here for that. I told you since day one, I absolutely love this project. I have always wanted to be something, I mean, a part of something similar to that, or in any aspect of just helping the people thrive.
mhm.
So I'm all here for that.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your support. I appreciate being able to hit you up with random texts like, I don't know what I'm doing. So
Bring it. See, it takes a lot. Like if it was a different person, they'd be like, I'm about to charge you for this
mhm.
knowledge and wealth of information that I have. But it takes me 5 minutes to reply and just to let you know, hey, try this or try that. And that goes back to understanding where humanity lays at this point. And we need to start kind of looking out for each other a little bit more, for
Yeah,
sure.
we definitely need to take a step back to move forward.
Yes, girl.
Yeah, because, oh, child, we need to work together on this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we are reaching our 1 hour, and I know you have little ones to take care of and a house to go back to. So I thank you so much for joining me on the couch today. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for your support. I'm so happy during Women's History Month to bring wonderful, powerful, exceptional women that got it. We're going to do this. We're going to make this happen.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for letting me hop on your platform that you are creating for not just for yourself, but for other people like me. I find that so beautiful, and I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, real quick, where can people find you? How can they contact you? Get in contact with all. We didn't even talk. We didn't even talk about your businesses and all of that stuff you have going on.
We got time on another episode of Couch Conversations. We got time to hone down on that.
Okay.
But definitely, if you have any questions about homeschooling, building meal plans for yourself and for your family, where to even start homeschooling, where you can get resources, follow me on Instagram. It's at Curl Dominican, Curl Dominican, because I have to represent my roots always, forever. Um, and on Facebook, Laenny Medina, I will definitely have you link where they can find me on Facebook. I'm always open to any questions. I may not always reply on time, of course, because I do run multiple businesses. I have a child and a household to take care of, but I'm always here. My inbox is always open.
Very much appreciated. And that, my loves, is today's couch conversation. So thank you very much.
Bye
Bye.
bye.